Let's go into the intel first, and then I'm going to go into the Redemption Center experience, what to expect, what to anticipate, how to prepare for it, so on. Okay. Number one, we were under the impression that yes, we would get started this week, meaning yesterday or today, we would definitely receive our numbers, set our appointments, and go. Now, it got blocked from happening. I would call it a cabal-installed delay. And here's what happened. Remember all the banks across the globe that were connected to the quantum financial system, all on the new banking system, all finally connected in ISO 222 protocol, synchronized and connected. All of that went through. We ran into a problem. Janet Yellen from the bogus administration did not release Rashid Bank in Iraq from sanctions, U.S. sanctions. It needed to be done. She was told to do it. She didn't do it, and it dragged. And Rashid Bank contacted Treasury to try to see if they could see what the problem was. They knew there was an issue. They contacted Treasury yesterday, and Treasury said, we'll have it handled in an hour. And I thought, okay, good. It won't slow us down. But guess what? It did slow us down. They were not able to get everything compliant that they needed to be because when the sanctions came off, they had to sort of start over and get connected again to the quantum system and so on. And Rashid Bank is a major bank in Iraq. Well, we did hear that was handled, but it's too late for us to go this week. Further to that, let's talk about Iraq. We know that Iraq was supposed to put out their new rate today and also seat their parliament and their new prime minister. Well, that didn't happen either. The good news is that on Saturday, Iraq will seat their government and their new prime minister. And on Sunday, this coming Sunday, which is the 15th, they will put out their new Iraqi dinar rate and increase their in-country rate to around 6, and they'll put out a new rate, which will not be our rate, just so you know. Ours will be much, much higher, and they'll put out that rate on Sunday. Now, all the banks, all the trading that takes place between the currencies, all new rates would be put on the screens by Sunday so that they can be traded Sunday night to the Far East. And remember, Iraq's first business day of the week is Sunday. So this would come on their first business day, and they would put their rate up, and we would probably find out about it on Monday. Now, with that at least happening this weekend, I'm not sure what else might happen. I don't know that notifications would happen, but I would think we could be prepared. And what I've been told from Redemption Center staff is next week should be a great week for us. Now, I know that's similar to the banned phrase on the big call, the banned phrase, this is the week, but it's a little different version of that. Next week should be a great week for all of us. All right, let's hold them to that. Let's believe for that. Let's have the faith to continue to believe that, all right? Because I am. And, by the way, Redemption Centers are dark today and tomorrow. So there's no activity at the Redemption Center today or on Friday tomorrow. They have been under conference call after conference call after conference call, Zoom calls, 3 Zoom calls yesterday. I don't know what was covered in those, but, we don't really get everything. obviously, as you know. But maybe we'll find something out. The other thing we heard was that yesterday at 4 o'clock Eastern, the bond activity started taking place with bonds paying out from Hong Kong, and then later, yesterday evening, from Zurich, and then finally out of Miami, the three biggest hubs for bond activity. Well, can't confirm it. May have happened. The funds may have moved for those, but we can't confirm that that has happened yet. So we'll just set that one aside. But we can tell you that so far, as of the start of the big call, there has been no email communication to the bondholders that they have funds in their account and they have access to those funds on such and such a day. That has not occurred yet. So, have the funds moved? Maybe. But have the emails gone out yet like we had anticipated today? No. Maybe that occurs over the weekend. Maybe it goes when we get notified. I'm going to say early next week. Hopefully very early next week. So, from an intel point of view, and we're getting our Iraq intel directly from Iraq, from an Iraqi citizen there, and, well, more than a citizen, but I don't want to go into that. So we're really confident that Iraq will do their thing, but you guys got to realize we've held Iraq back for months and really years for getting these things accomplished. The one good thing about the 15th, which is Sunday, 15th of May, is that is the day that the UN operational rates change for all currencies. And so it may be that they line that up, the UN operational rates, with the new currency rates for all these countries that are in the so-called first basket. At last count, there were 27 or 28 currencies that are going to go up, and some greatly in value. Some will go down, most will go up in that basket. So I'm excited that that's the case, and we're still obviously believing for this blessing to come through early next week. All right, so we can all just breathe and relax for a minute. Let's talk about the actual exchange process. All right, let's start with notifications. These notifications, especially for you new people, for people that haven't been in this very long, maybe even a year or less, and maybe longer, we're to be notified by Wells Fargo servers through emails. They know almost all of the Zim holders they know. If you purchase Zim, they know, and they know how much you have. They're not as concerned about the other currencies, but they're very concerned about Zim and Zim holders like us. Number one priority for the redemption centers is Zim holders. Number two priority is other types of bonds, German bonds, Yellow Dragon, Red Dragon bonds, you name it, railroad bonds, every kind of bond. There's many kinds. The redemption center can process those bonds. And we know of some people that have bonds, and they're planning on taking them in with them to the redemption center when they take their currency and their Zim in. The third priority is currency. Okay, so if you're just a currency holder, you're third on the list. If you've got Zim, you're first on the list. All right, so that's how the priorities are working with redemption centers. Now, why do we call it a redemption center? Because the Zimbabwe dollar currency is actually a bearer bond, meaning payable to the bearer. Guess what? You're the bearer. So when you take that in, it's considered like a bond. That means it will pay you the face value of that bond at some rate. We don't really do rates on the big call, typically, because I don't want to get in trouble. But I would say, because in the past we've talked about the Zimbabwe dollar being on par with the U.S. dollar. It's been out for a long time now. And if you don't know what on par means, then you need to look it up. So I'm feeling very good about that. Now, that is going to be somewhat dependent. The rate that you get on the Zim is going to be somewhat dependent on how well you present your projects and what they are, and the longevity of them, and the job creation, et cetera, et cetera. There's some factors there. Okay? So that is important. All right, let's go back a minute. We're talking about getting notified, which should have an email to you, which would have the toll-free number. We assume it's a 1-800 number on the email that goes to a call center. And there are 6 regional call centers throughout the United States. Based on where you're calling from, you would call the number, and I think there'll be some automated aspect to it where you would enter the zip code of the area in which you would like to exchange. Now, you may be living in this zip code, but you may know there's a redemption center, or for some reason you want to exchange in another zip code. You would enter the zip code for the area in which you would like to exchange and redeem your Zim. Okay? So keep that in mind. You probably enter that, I think, on it. Now remember, they haven't told me any of this in proper detail. So I'm going to learn as you guys learn. I might get a heads up a day or so early on it. I might. But if I do, I won't be able to tell you guys on the call. So this is the best I can do. You probably will enter your zip code on a dial pad of some kind. And then you would be, if you're a Zim holder, they will ask you maybe what currencies do you have. They might even automate it to say, for Zimbabwe dollar, press 1. I'm just giving you an example. They may not do this. Please understand this, you people. Understand this is only a possibility. They might say for dinar, press 2. For Vietnamese dong, press 3. For Zim, you know what I mean? They may do it that way. They may not at all. But I know this. When we call the number, if we're a Zim holder, and they know that, or they find that out in our process of calling, we will get routed to the redemption center where we will do our Zim redemption. So we'll get routed from maybe one place to another, or given the 800 number to that redemption center. One or the other. We'll either get routed there automatically, or we'll call that number and get it. All right, so let's say we're on now with the redemption center. More than likely, you're going to be talking to an individual who will be helping you with your redemption of Zim and your currencies. More than likely, this is the beginning of the relationship that you're creating with the Redemption Center staff. Now, there are principals, meaning main staff members in the Redemption Centers that are on shifts to work from 8 or 8:30 in the morning all the way to 10 or 10:30 at night. So a lot of the Redemption Centers will be on 3 different shifts. You'll have a principal person in one of those and several assistants, at least 2, maybe 3 assistants. You'll probably have a Treasury representative and a Homeland Security representative also on site at the Redemption Center when you're there. And, of course, they'll have security. So, okay, we got our call. We've set it up. We've established the time for our appointment. We know not to get there more than 10 minutes early. Do not get there more than 10 minutes before your appointment because they don't want people stacked up in the parking lot or any of that noise, okay? Don't be that church bus from South Texas that comes all the way up and just overflows into a bank. That's not the plan. Forget about it. Set your appointment. Be on time. Don't be late, but don't be more than 10 minutes early. All right, what do you need? When you go in, obviously, remember your currency. Hopefully you've counted it. You've got it separated by denomination. That means if it were a denomination of dinar, the new Iraqi dinar was available with 1,000. They actually had a 50, but don't worry about a 50 or a 500. They had 1,000 dinar notes, and then the next increase was to 5,000 dinar. Next was 10,000 dinar, and the last was 25,000 dinar. Most of us have 25K dinar notes, 25,000 dinar notes. Don't say $25,000 dinar notes. Don't say that. It's 25. Their currency is dinar, like our currency is dollar. Okay? 25K dinar notes, 10K dinar notes, etc. Whatever your total is, just put it in order of lowest to highest denomination. All right. Same thing with the dong. Same thing. If you've got 20,000 dong notes or 50,000 dong notes or whatever, just kind of keep all the 20s together, the 500s together, etc. Put them all in order. Get a total for each of your currencies, including your ZIM, and write it down and then type it up. So you have a copy to hand to them when it comes time to count and verify your currency and your ZIM. You'll have a printed copy that says, I have this many of this many of this in that currency. Okay? In other words, if I've got 10 million dinar, that's all you need. Say 10 million dinar. I've got 20 million dong. Okay, 20 million dong. Good. I've got X number of, I've got 50 trillion ZIM, a 50 T note. I've got 150 T note. Okay, 50 trillion ZIM. So all of that's typed up like in a category, you know what I mean? So they can see what you believe you have. Now they've got to verify the same number that you thought you had. That's why you keep a copy there, and you hand them a copy. This is how much I have of each currency. Afghani, Bolivar, whatever it is, whatever you've got, okay, as far as the currencies go. All right, so we got to the point where we're now at our appointment, and what do we do now? First of all, make sure you bring a picture ID. If you have two, bring your driver's license and your passport. If you just don't have a passport, whatever, just bring your license. If you're a student, bring your student ID. If you've got a government ID, bring that. Picture ID. Bring your picture ID. Next, make sure that you have a copy of a recent bill, like a utility bill. Could be your cell phone bill. Bring that if you have it. Bring your utility bill of electric or your natural gas bill, something like that, that shows the address where you live. So they see, oh, I see you're a resident. You do reside somewhere. Yeah, I see where you live, blah, 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 because it's on the bill. Bring that. Bring like two different bills, just in case. Now, you do not need to bring your receipts for your currency or your ZIM. They're not going to have time to monkey with that. They don't want it. They don't want it. They don't need it. Forget about it. Forget the receipts. So you've got some stuff that goes under the Know Your Customer deal. Now remember, for ZIM holders, they know pretty much who you are ahead of time. They know your social. They know everything. But what you're going to do when you get there is verify that you are who they think you are. That you take this ID, that you have your utility bills. You're all set to present that at the very beginning when you walk in the door and you've gone through the little security gate and you just are meeting them for the first time. You're introducing yourself and providing that as they call for it, okay? Now, you got the ID part. The Know Your Customer part is good to go. Now you're ready to move into the redemption side of it, and you'll be taken to a room where my understanding is now is when you'll pony up your currency and have them count it and verify it with a De La Rue machine, DeLarue. It means of the street or from the street in French. De la rue. You give them your currency for them to run it through the machine. Those are those counting machines. Remember, guys, they go, brrr, brrr, and they count those currencies. They're going to go like 100 miles an hour, verifying and counting at the same time. All that data is fed into their laptop. So they have that data right there. And what they'll do is give you the totals that they came up with. And now you're talking about, my understanding is now you're talking about your rates for each of those currencies. But you may talk about what you plan to do with your Zim, as Sue mentioned, first. You may be doing your song and dance, you may be doing your 5 to 8 minute presentation while somebody else is counting your currency. You see, that may be happening at the same time so they don't lose time. And so they want us in and out of there in about 40 minutes or less. They want us in and out. All right, so listen, this is what else we're doing. So they're counting and verifying our currency. They're coming up with a total. We're telling them in 5 to 8 minutes what our presentation is, what our projects are about in outline form. And this is where Sue's got this thing down to where the world-class presentations are designed to present in that period of time with accuracy, with simplicity, but give them everything that they're looking for. That's the beauty of them. So you're doing that. You got that part done. Now you're looking at, you've got the rates that have been established. You've got, they're using a calculator to determine how much you have of each. And I still see us in a way, the Zim is so unique and so special, they're going to take that and put that in the quantum account because it is so large. And we'll take, as you guys remember, for the last 3 or 4 calls, we're taking a percentage of it, which we believe would be from 10 to 50% of that currency in the quantum and putting it into our primary Wells Fargo account. Our primary account is what pays interest. It will pay an interest that is negotiable with the bank that you're there with now, with Wells. And I told you guys we should be in around 8.25% for that rate, and that's an annual percentage yearly. I hope I can talk them into paying my interest out quarterly, which means 2% per quarter times 4 is 8. That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. And that's interest on the primary account. In other words, the primary account is earning that interest, but I'm going to have it pay into a secondary account with Wells, which I have previously referred to as the spillover account. We can still use it if we like. We still use that term. I'm using right now primary and secondary accounts with Wells. And you could always take that interest and dump it into another bank. You could also set up another account with Chase or with any number of banks and make that an account. Could be a tertiary or a third account. A tertiary account means third. So primary, secondary is what your interest gets paid into, and you could operate out of that secondary account. I will operate out of that account, and I'll have that account tied to 3 or 4 different LLCs in my example. All right? Now, beyond that, all right, we've got the account. Now we need to set up our accounts, don't we? Which are trust accounts or accounts that are tied to LLCs. You got your primary account. They've already got the paperwork ready to go for that. Secondary account to take the interest into. And that is what also in that secondary account is where the proceeds from the currencies that we exchanged would go into. It wouldn't go into the quantum account, because those monies are available in full on day 1. So if you've got your dinar, your dong, your rupiah, your Afghani, all those other currencies, the exchange proceeds in USN, meaning new dollars, USN would be in that secondary account. Okay, and you would have full access to all of that. And it could be a lot of money. It won't be as much as the primary account, which has the 10% or 50% or whatever percentage they settle on with you. On the Zim, that's going to be heads and tails way above your secondary account, but your secondary account will be significant if you've got a lot of currency, okay? So don't worry about it. That's how I'm set. That's how I'm going to do it if I can talk them into it. That I don't think it's going to be hard to talk them into it, because I think they're going to delineate the Zim separate from the currencies too. Put the Zim in the Quantum account. Remember, the Quantum account is in the Quantum financial system. It's digitized. It's digital currency. It does not draw interest. That's why we take a certain percentage of the Quantum account and put it into our primary account. And we do that at the exchange appointment. Now, they don't have time for a lot of regular banking to go on, so we'll see. They won't have too much time, but if we knock that out, they are going to give us, and this is something I've heard just yesterday, so, and it may change the interest rate that I mentioned. Supposedly, all the Tier 1 banks will pay the same rate of interest. So there would be no advantage over one bank, over another, over Wells, over Chase, over Citi, over Bank of America, whatever. Or Truist Bank is a new Tier 1 bank now. Truist. All right, that's a good one. Now, here's the deal. We've got that. We're going to take a debit credit card, which will be tied to, this is the big question mark I have. Can I get one that's not tied to my primary account unless I want to move funds? Yes, okay, that's true. You may want to move funds, so I need something that I'll move funds to my secondary account, but can I have a debit credit card on my secondary account where I can access funds that way? The answer is you may be able to do both. You may do one, and then when you come back to do more banking, you might be able to set up another account with its own credit or debit card. I think that would be doable. But right now, at the Redemption Center, you're looking at one, and it'll be a high-end card. I hope it's not a black card. We don't want that. That draws too much attention to it, okay? I know a black card sounds cool, but you really just want to get a platinum card or something that's not too different, not too out of the ordinary, that is tied to your primary account. More than likely, that'll be the case. Now, what about the Quantum account? This is where you have what I call the Quantum Access Card, the QAC. The Quantum Access Card is a thick, 3 credit cards thick, titanium card. The only purpose that it has, it's got 3 chips in it, one of which is a biometric finger or thumbprint reader, and the other 2 is a start and a stop chip on that card that's embedded in the card. You use that, as far as I can tell, you only use that when you want to access your Quantum account, to check balance, to do whatever. And as far as I can understand, to move funds from your Quantum to your primary account, I believe you need to do that at the bank. I don't think that's something you can do on your own on your laptop. I hope not, but who knows? It's such a big, you're dealing with huge numbers, and you don't want to screw it up. You don't want to mess something up or get a wrong code or whatever. All right. So, all right, we're still at the Redemption Center. We've got our new account set up. We've got our credit debit card. We're really looking to get a list of perks, P-E-R-K-S, perks, which are benefits for going to this bank versus that bank versus that bank They're going to basically be all pretty similar. There may be some advantage with one bank over another with the perks. We'll see. That comes out. You don't make those decisions there. You take that home and think about and look that over, see if there's anything on the perk page. Should be about 3 pages long. Anything you see on the perks that you want, and then you let them know later, okay? All right, so we've gotten in. Now, what about cash? Yes, we can get a limited amount of cash up to $2,500. That's it. If there's a cap, it's on the cash. That's it. You can ask for up to $2,500 of new cash, which should be the new United States Treasury notes, our new money, at the time of your exchange and redemption. Just to have a little walking around money and they don't want to give you more. Why? They don't want anybody hit, picked up, robbed, or whatever if they go out of the redemption center. You've got to keep your mouth shut. You're going to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, which means shut the front door and don't mention this to anyone. The only people that you can talk to about this whole thing would be people that are part of your projects, leadership team, whatever, advisory group, that could be exempted from the NDA. And you better have a page listing those names. And don't go crazy with this. 3, 4, 5 names, whatever it is, that you can write down. And these could be exempted from your NDA because you are going to be talking to these people about your projects and about the funding and so on, okay? That's the exception to the NDA. All right? And the NDAs are supposed to be pretty tight. You guys that are big on social media, not good. Not good. You probably should get off of it if you're not off already. Even LinkedIn and all these other things, you're not going to need the social media. And then just stay quiet. Try to make your life the same as it is now with some upgrades. Obviously, you guys are going to upgrade cars. You're going to upgrade. But if you're living in the hood and you're thinking about getting a Bentley, think again. That's going to scream, I got money, honey. And you don't want that to happen. Now, if you move out of the hood and you go down to Beverly Hills, and the Bentleys are kind of the routine down there, okay, that's different. But if you're in the ghetto, if you're in Compton, wouldn't be smart. So keep that in mind. You're going to need security. Look into personal security. And don't be surprised. It's a good idea. Make sure that you have it. What else? All right. That's taken us all the way through the redemption process. And now you're getting out of there. You spend 35 to 40 minutes. You're done. Don't celebrate on the way out. You probably go out a back door, maybe not the same door you came in. And don't go out to the bar and buy everybody a round of drinks or 2 rounds of drinks at the bar. Don't get into that whole motif. Yeah, you want to take care of your tips. You want to tip your waiters and waitresses and so on. You want to do that. Take care of your servers. But don't go nuts. Don't give them $1,000 and whatever. I mean, be careful on that stuff, you guys. Because otherwise, if that happens, you'll be followed out of the restaurant to your car, to your home. Are you with me? You don't want to draw that. You don't want to draw that type of attention. It's not wise. Okay? Be smart. Be smart about this. This is the biggest financial turnover in the history of the world. This is the wealth of the wicked laid up for the just. When I knew that scripture back 18 years ago, I'd heard that scripture probably 40 years prior to now. and I understood it, and I took it to mean this exchange, this turnover of wealth. The greatest wealth turnover in the history of the world is occurring when we start these exchanges. All right, so bondholders need to be notified of their monies when they have access to it. We need to be notified that we can get our toll-free number and set up our appointments and go. The public, since we're looking at next week, which is the week of the 16th of May, the public is probably going to start the following week. That's my gut on it. They're probably pushed because we got pushed as well. But that's really the intel I wanted to bring tonight. I would highly recommend you guys get in touch with Sue. Remember the 3 options that you have. The world-class formula, $165, to get the world-class presentation formula and materials. The Just What I Need, which is also $165, $165, Just What I Need, in the subject line. And then last, and certainly not least, is Designing Your Best Future, $599 for 4 one-hour sessions, personalized, customized for you with Sue. Integrated Minds at hushmail.com. Integrated Minds at hushmail.com. All right. Listen, that's what I wanted to bring to you guys tonight. I hope I didn't go too long, but I did want to give you that additional information about the Redemption Center. For any new people, hopefully that was valuable to you. And, guys, this could be our last call, depending on when the numbers come out. But get in touch with Sue and go on bigcalluniverse.com to check out Bob's website by clicking on the banner that says Boomers. Take you right to a direct link into his site. Check it out and get what you need to be healthy. All right, everybody. All right. Oh, great.